We shall now proceed to the next topic of this session. Uh, this will be delivered by Ms. Stuti Chakraborty, and the topic of this talk is an overview of sociology as a subject and its career opportunities. Welcome, ma'am,
Thank
to
you.
this
Hi.
session.
Yes.
The screen is
Oh,
yours.
yeah. So, hi, I'm Stuti. I'm presently doing my MPhil in Sociology from Jadavpur University, Kolkata, and I have completed my Masters in Sociology from Banaras Hindu University. And hello to all. And firstly, I would like to apologize because I'm very bad in Hindi, so I'll try to speak in Hindi, but I'll mostly speak in English, and I'll just like to do a presentation. Through the presentation, I'll discuss about the subject sociology to you all. So let me just do this thing. Okay, so before I start, I would like to say that if you have any doubt, you can just leave a message during the during the presentation, or you can unmute yourself after the presentation and ask your question. Okay. So is the presentation visible? Can anybody?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's start. So today, as I said, I'm going to talk to you about why should you choose sociology as a subject. So as Chitradeep was saying in the last session, that it's every subject has become multidisciplinary nowadays. So we have to widen our horizon. It's same for the subject sociology also. So let us find out in next few minutes that why you should sociology, what the subject is all about. So let's start. Um, so here I'm in the first slide. I'm going to mention the things I'm going to discuss about in this session. So first we are going to talk to you about what is sociology, a basic introduction of the subject. Then I'll talk to you about how you can connect to the subject, and then the different job prospects in sociology and how you can prepare for them and get through the jobs. And then I'll separately talk about academic career as an option, and then I'll discuss about everything about the institutions in India and abroad that have sociology as a subject. So before starting, let me ask you some questions so you can unmute yourself so to answer the questions. So कोई मुझे बता सकते हैं some of the examples of social problems that are prevalent in our society? You can just unmute yourself and answer. Is there anyone who can give any example? Hello?
Is it
Sorry, you are not audible.
Ayushi was trying to answer something. Ayushi, can you please just type it out? Looks like there is some network problem with you.
ma'am,
Yes.
that is it unemployment?
Right. Anything else? The things we're seeing in news every day. Yeah. Okay. Okay, very good. Unemployment is one of the very big social problems in our society that is prevalent. There is poverty, there is, gender-based violence, there is caste and class-based violence, and there are many others. So very good, Ayushi. And the next question is, कोई मुझे बता सकते हैं कि सेंसस कितने ईयर के गैप में होता है? Again, you can unmute yourself. It can be Ayushi or anyone else to answer. सेंसस कितने सालों में होता है? सेंसस पता है किसी को क्या है?
10 years में होता है.
Yes, very good. Are you the same girl? Are you Ayushi? I cannot.
Yes, ma'am. Manshi.
Okay, very good, very good. So yeah, so census is basically a survey on population, as we know कि कितने लोग इन 10 सालों में the death rate and the birth rate, these things are calculated and presented through a survey method every 10 years. So my next question is, do you know the age below which children are considered as child labor? कितने उम्र के नीचे होने से a child is called child labor?
Ma'am, below 14.
Very good, very good. So basically, below 14, if you are doing a non-hazardous or hazardous job, then you are called a child labor. And if you are 14 or above 14 and you are doing a non-hazardous job after your school hours, and if the job is given by your family members, then you are not called a child labor. But again, if it's a a hazardous job and you are below 18, then you will be called a child will be called a child labor. So very good. And my last question to you is, do you know the minimum legal age of marriage in India?
And for girls, 18 years,
14.
and for boys,
14 years.
21 years.
Okay. Someone is saying 14 years. May I hear him once again? कौन है जो बोल रहा है 14 years? Okay. So yes, it's 18 years for girls and it's 21 years for boys. Very good. So you might think that why I am asking such questions. Well, I have an answer for it in the next few slides. So let's find out. So to begin with what sociology is, first let me tell you the literal meaning of the word sociology. Maybe some of you know it, some of you don't know. So let me just break it to you. Sociology comes from two words, socio and logos. Socio means companion and logos means study of. So together it's a study of companions. Why it is known as a study of companions? Let us find out. Okay. So we all know, right? For the natural world and the physical world, there is natural sciences, physical sciences. But have you ever wondered that how the world of people works? So sociology has an answer for it, because sociology is a scientific study of society, social institutions, social relationships, and of course human behavior. So basically right now I'm talking to you all and I'm interacting with you in this seminar. This is also a part of the study of sociology. So to let you know that it is the biggest area of study among all the social sciences, and the study of sociology includes politics, economy, psychology and other social sciences through its emphasis on social phenomena related to polity, economy, history, human behavior, etc. So sociology is basically everything that is happening around us, an in-depth study of those things. And for example, sociology studies how can religion have an effect on the people of our country, their economy and their culture, etc. So if we take for example the religion Hinduism, we will see that how the religion Hinduism is affecting our daily lives, how the religion is infused in our daily lives, and how it is affecting our cultures, everyday cultures, and our economy and other things, our human behaviors, etc. So you might think that this is what I'm talking about is something very general, and we see it every day, we experiences every day. There is nothing new to study about it, right? You might think that it's just our common sense, it's very commonsensical, but no, sociology is not common sense. Why? Because sociology is based on extensive research, whereas common sense is based on individual experiences. Also, common sense are mostly based on assumptions, but sociological findings are derived from theories by collecting evidence and studying them in depth. So, for example, as Ayushi said, that unemployment is a problem in our society. So, you might think that commonsensically we can think that unemployment is a result of lack of education. But if we study in depth and if we study sociologically, we will maybe find out that only lack of education is not the reason behind unemployment. There are many other reasons. There is poverty. Because people are poor, they cannot go to school, they cannot continue going to school, and hence they are unemployment. And there are many other. There is, gender discrimination, caste and class discrimination, and other things that are causing unemployment. So what we think commonsensically may not be always true. And common sense is very limited as it is restricted within the known periphery, but sociological findings are vast because they derive from varying backgrounds. Again, common sense is something that we see around us and conclude a decision from what we see around us. But sociology is something scientifically proved, and its study is based on everything that is happening around us. It's just not where we are living, what we are experiencing, but it's something that is experienced all over the world in every type of societies. So definitely sociology is not common sense. Then let me come to the point that how can you connect yourself to the subject? Because if you are someone who is concerned about the problems in our society, who is bothered about what the wrong things that are happening around us, and if you're wondering that how can you solve those problems, or how can you improve the society around you, then sociology is the right subject for you, because it helps in understanding and analyzing sociological issues in a better way, and helps to come up with solutions and improvements by addressing various problematic factors in areas of caste, class, gender, poverty, and many other things, etc. So, studying sociology will enhance the ability to be an active and conscious citizen and take part in influencing societal choices and policies. So, nowadays, I don't know if you all know this, but be it you are studying engineering, if you are, doesn't matter if you are studying law or you are studying sociology or any other social sciences, sociology is a basic, thing that you have to study in your course, because it is something that actually connects you to the society, and it actually helps you to enhance your ability to be an active citizen and to make changes in the society, maybe through making new policies or doing other things for the society. And next, studying sociology will help you to learn to think critically about the social issues and throw light on the problems that confront our society. So generally, when we see a problem in when we see a news in the newspaper, when we read something, we are like, okay, this is happening in our society, this is very bad, this should not happen. Or when we see a child labor maybe in our neighborhood, and we say, oh, this is not something that is right. But this is not what we should do to change the society, right, to solve the problem. But then if you study sociology, you will start thinking critically, and you will start questioning the evils of the society, and that is how you can help to change the society to make it a better place. And most importantly, sociology is a very contemporary subject, as we know that it is a systematic study of what is happening around us on a daily basis. So now you may ask me that what at all will you do with a sociology degree, right? You have known what is the society like around you, and you have thought of policies and plans to change the society and to solve all the problems in the society, but that is not going to give you money to live your life, right? So you may ask me that what kind of jobs you can do with a sociology degree. So let me tell you that social sciences like history, psychology, philosophy, economics, law, politics, linguistics, criminology, etc. fall under the umbrella of sociology. So definitely this subject has n number of national and international job opportunities. So let us find out. So here I have made a chart of the types of jobs. So I have divided the types of jobs into three parts: the administrative jobs, corporate jobs, and entrepreneurship. So administrative jobs, as we know, that someone who will be in administration, like the deputy managers, director generals, all these posts are known as administrative posts, and they can be both government jobs and non-government jobs. In corporate jobs, you can work in NGOs, you can work in CSR. Let me tell you what CSR is if you don't know. The full form of CSR is corporate social responsibility. So every multinational companies and other companies must have a corporate social responsibility sector as a department, where they have to contribute a certain amount of their profit to the society for the social causes. So you can get a job in CSR departments after getting a degree in sociology or other social sciences, but preferably sociology. And then you can work in human resource, that is HR department. You can either get a job through your sociology degree, or you can get a degree in HR, and then you can get a job in HR department. And you can also become an entrepreneur if you want to do something on your own. You can start your own organization, that can be profit and non-profit organization, or you can attach yourself with community development projects. So let us find out what are the necessary degrees and qualification you will need to do these jobs. So for administrative jobs, that is Group A jobs and Group B jobs for gazetted officers, I have mentioned the government degrees and qualifications needed for government jobs here, because for non-government jobs you don't need to, as per my knowledge goes, you don't need to qualify any particular entrance exam for that. So for government jobs, you can sit for the UPSC conducted examinations. For that, the lowest academic qualification is graduation, and I have also mentioned the age limits there for general category, SC, ST and OBC category. And the question patterns are subjective and objective. You can also sit for the Staff Selection Commission conducted exams, and then you can also sit for your State Public Service Commission conducted exams. And the rules for the State Public Service Commission conducted exams will be different and will vary from state to state. Then for corporate jobs in NGOs or MNCs or in any other corporate sectors, you will need a graduation degree, a BA degree in sociology, and a master degree in sociology is preferred there. You can do a diploma course or certificate course in subjects which is based on sociology. And here I have mentioned few online courses platforms, which are NPTEL, SWAYAM, which are conducted by MHRD. Then you can do a degree course or diploma course on human resource for applying in HR departments of MNCs and other private companies. So if you want to open your own organization, or you want to run your own campaign, or you want to be a social entrepreneur, what you need to do, you can start whenever you feel that you are ready, and the minimum qualification is preferred if you have a bachelor's degree. And you need to have a very clear idea about the social issue you want to ponder upon, like if you want to work on poverty elevation, or you want to work on children's education and things like that. You need to be aware about the contemporary policies and acts. The social cause you are choosing to work on, you need to be very, very well aware about the policies regarding those social causes. And you need to have a very clear idea, a very good draft blueprint of how to establish and how to grow your organization. And for that, you need to have a very good networking and a crystalline idea about everything, ABCD, everything of social entrepreneurship. So next, as I have said, that if you want to choose academics as a career option, these are the options you have. There is research, there is teaching, and there is lecturership. To become a researcher, to go into research, work, your minimum qualification to apply for research is holding a master degree in sociology. So, and then you have to, or you can, if you have you're from some other background also, you can sit for the national eligibility test sociology. You have to sit for this exam, and the types of questions here are MCQ based, and the validity for junior research fellow is 3 years. So basically, if you cleared the JRF, you will get a certain amount of scholarship with which you can go on with your research. And for becoming assistant professors also, you need to give this exam and crack this exam. uh, the validity of assistant professors are lifetime. Very recently, their GATE has introduced an entrance test, eligibility test for the students of social science. So you can also give this exam, GATE entrance exam. The types of questions are MCQ based, and the validity of GATE is 2 years. Through passing this exam, you can get into all the IITs of India. And then there is state eligibility test, and it's mostly MCQ based, like it's actually wholly MCQ based. And there are entrance tests in different universities, and the type of questions varies from different universities to universities. They can be both subjective or objective. And there is also, yes, obviously there is interview. You have to be very smart and strategic about how to give the interview, and for doing a research, you need to have a very good research proposal for that. And in the interview, mostly you are asked questions based on your research proposals. So yeah, then comes teaching. Your minimum qualification to apply for teaching is holding a BA in sociology, and obviously MA is preferred. You need to have a BA degree, and you can also sit for this exam, TET exam, and that is how you can become a teacher in the subject of sociology. And then there is lecturership, as I have already mentioned, that to become a lecturer, you need to pass this exam, national eligibility test, and you can also sit for state eligibility test and become a lecturer in your own state. But that will be restricted for your state only. So I'll suggest that you sit for the national eligibility test, because that again will widen your area of service. And you have to be enrolled for PhD program, and you have to sit for the entrance exams and interview conducted by the institutes you apply to. So here I have mentioned the best institutions that you can get into. So the Indian institutions are suggested from NAC suggestions. So institutions, I have divided them into Indian and international institutions, and the Indian institutions, I have divided them into the government institutions and private institutions. The government institutions, in them, the admission is based on merit list and entrance test for BA. And for PG and PhD, you have to it's divided in 50-50. You have to sit for entrance exam also, and it will be based on your merit list also. So you need to have a very good percentage in your 12+2 level. So the colleges and universities I have mentioned here is Delhi University, and all the colleges which are affiliated to Delhi University, they conduct all UG, PG, PhD. There is JNU, but sadly JNU, Jawaharlal Nehru University, they don't have the UG program, but they definitely have the PG and PhD program. And there is BHU, Banaras Hind University, they also conduct the UG, PG and PhD program. And all the renowned state university affiliated colleges are there, so you can apply in those colleges, in the respective colleges. Those are from your state. And then there is private institutes. These institutes and their fee structure are on slightly on the costlier side. So one of the best private institutes is Tata Institute of Social Science for BA, MA, and PhD. But sociology as a core subject is not there in Tata Institute of Social Science. But sociology-based subjects like gender studies, anthropology, psychology, all these subjects are there in Tata. So if you want to go for a specialized study which is based on sociology, you can. This is the right place for you. There is St. Xavier's College in many states. There is Amity University, there is Christ University. And if you are someone who is aspiring to go to an international institute, here are 10 best universities: Harvard, University of California, Oxford University, LSE, Stanford, etc. You can apply there. What you have to do is you have to prepare a statement of purpose where you have to write what you want to study, why do you want to get into the particular college, etc. And you have to so the admission for bachelor's is based on your SOP, that is statement of purpose. And for masters you need to have a SOP and a recommendation letter from a professor that you have from the professor who has taught you in a previous institute maybe. And for PhD you need to have a very well prepared research proposal and the other things like SOP, recommendation letters, etc. And the must thing that you need to do is crack the exams, GRE or TOEFL or IELTS. These are language tests. Without cracking these exams, you cannot apply to these universities, because all of them will ask you for the grade cards of this one of these exams. It varies from different universities to universities. So this is not an exhaustive chart. For more information, you can go through sites like collegeduniashiksha.com, etc. And lastly, I would like to mention some subjects which are based on sociology, which are not the core subject sociology. They are like social work, gender studies. As you can understand, gender studies mostly emphasize on gender, but it is actually based on sociology, but it will have an emphasis on gender studies. Then there is developmental studies, there is media studies, there is criminology, there is anthropology. Anthropology, if you don't know, is a kind of comparative study among various ethnic groups. That they can be tribe or other ethnic groups, and there are many others. But one disadvantage of this if you pursue these subjects is your doors will be very limited. But if you study sociology and like for your BA and masters, and then you want to specialize in these subjects, then your more paths will be open for you. Okay, so that's it. Now
Thanks a ton, Ms. Chakraborty, for the beautiful and illustrative and informative presentation you have presented to us this evening. There is already one question in the chat box I can see. R.N. Shukla is asking, can you please specify, he was asking, is there any minus marking, negative marking in the entrance exam? I suppose he's trying to mention about the entrance exam that are held in India itself, right?
right. Yeah, it varies actually. Like in BHU, there is negative marking. In Delhi University, there is negative marking, but I'm not sure about JNU. I don't think they have negative marking. But it's better if you prepare yourself to, to deal with a negative marking, because you have to be very strategic. If there is negative marking, you cannot just take all the answers. You have to be very strategic when you are answering. If you're not sure about a certain answer, you shouldn't take it if there is negative marking. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think this answers her or his question. And this can be taken as a thumb rule that most of the competitive exams come with a negative marking to just channelize